when she says, I do like him and I don't like him, is she perhaps just kind of trying to persuade herself that she's supposed to be distancing herself from this? Is she telling herself that rather than that's what she actually feels? She's kind of projecting onto herself, I'm supposed to feel this way, so I'll tell myself that I do like him but I don't, so that I don't both feet in.
Welcome to The Story Thinker, a Webtoons and Witcher podcast for superfans with scene-by-scene analysis. Featuring sharp co-hosts for a fuller picture, we dive deep into character psychology, relationships, and theories. We'd love it if you could like, subscribe, comment, and rate us on all podcast platforms and social media. For bonus content, you can support The Story Thinker on Patreon. Let's begin. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 175. And we're here with Sabra and Sadie and Krystine.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, we've got some great episodes coming up. And as you know, we only have 175, 176, and 177 till the end of the season. So it's building up to a point. And yes.
We don't know.
Well, we'll make our guesses. We'll make our predictions. All right, so we start out in the beautiful world that Sam has built. It's lovely. I love it. It's so relaxing.
It is. I want to hear the sounds of it. When I open this, I want it to. I want to open up like one of those meditation apps or something, and pick a sound that would go with this scenery. I think that'd be nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the colors. It's just, it makes me feel calm just looking at it. It's really nice.
I'm like, Webtoon, music people, can you create a soundtrack just for this scene?
Oh,
please and thank you.
Just ambient.
Good idea, yes.
Yeah, music enhances so much. I'm always so grateful when there's music.
Agreed.
So we have our lovely Sam and Marshall, or Dion and Ariadne. This is the result of fatigue. My apologies. They're sitting there and they're watching their dragon egg, and they're so cute. They're like, Sam's got her legs popped up and they're hovering over it. It's adorable. And Marshall says, have you had any luck finding out when this egg will hatch? Sam's like, not really. When I've read, the time it takes for the egg to hatch is dependent on which dragon it is. Could be hours or days of in-game time for the player. And then there's a panel of just the two of them looking at it. Really cute. And Marshall's like, poke, poke, hey, do something. Yes. It's so adorable. Really cute. And Marshall is looking at Sam and he's like, because he noticed that something is off. And Sam is rubbing her cheek and she looks worried and nervous. And Marshall asks her, Sam, are you okay? You seem to have a lot on your mind. And she jumps and looks down and looks sad. And she says, oh yeah, I'm just thinking about someone. And Marshall asks, is it Charles? Which is pretty smart of him, When someone's got a lot on their mind at this age and stage of their life, it's usually boy trouble.
Not a significant other, yep.
Yeah. And she's like, how did you know it was him? Because Sam, in her mind, right? She's like, nobody knows we're together. Absolutely no one. Certainly not my father.
Oh my goodness. Her father knows way too much.
Yeah, it's always so funny when you have you ever had this where you have your friends and you see they're getting into each other and they think no one knows, but you're like, got you.
Totally. They think they're oblivious and you're just like, you ain't fooling nobody.
My best friend, I had always just assumed that this was the case, but she didn't realize she was gay. I knew she was gay.
So this just happened with my cousin. It's he lived his whole life and I'm like, he hasn't really had a steady girlfriend ever. I'm wonding if he knows. and then he finally came out and I was just like,
that's it. And she was like, where is all the drama? Why aren't you? And I was just like, I thought you knew.
You apparently were the last one to know that you were gay. We all knew.
That was really funny.
Yep, I can relate to that. That's funny.
Same thing.
So Marshall, besides for being observant, he also tells her, I saw him leaving our apartment, this building this morning. Figured he must have come to see you. And did something happen? And Sam looks away. She's got her hand on her cheek. So, yeah. And she says, kinda, it's hard to explain. Charles has had a rough past and I'm really worried about him. And Marshall says, is he in some sort of danger? Which is nice. I love Marshall. He's such a nice guy.
I like that that's the first thing that comes into his mind instead of, did he do something to you? You know, I just like that approach. He's
I feel like
I really like as well that, you know, he doesn't like Charles. He's not been shy about, you know, I don't like Charles. And he still goes, is he in danger? Like, does he need help? Because he's a sweet puppy.
he is.
And
That
I'm
the
probably
one.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just like, when I think of Marshall, that's what comes to my mind. He's a puppy.
He is
little
a
puppy.
So I'm trying to remember and like talk it up to like being tired. When did Marshall say he doesn't like Charles? Like, am I
I don't know if he said he didn't like him, but he doesn't really know him very much, and he's the only way he's really known him is his relationship with Eva.
Eva.
But I don't think he's actually said he doesn't like him.
Standoffish. And when they were outside of Sam's apartment.
I don't know if he's too happy about what he said about Bowser.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Doesn't like him.
Jealous. But
Yeah.
Marshall flipped him off, didn't he? But like in British language.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
You
And
were
that
on
always kind of stuck in my mind as a kind of, you know, does he? Because I think for Americans, that's just a peace symbol, but it's not here.
I remember that.
Yeah. So for him, yeah. So for him to do that, it kind of made me go. So yeah, I just get the feeling that
good insight.
I feel like he doesn't like him, but not that he doesn't like him. You know, like I feel like he's like not the kind of person he would be best buds with, but he's like, whatever. This is, you know, this is just somebody who's like I wouldn't be friends with, but whatever, he's fine. Like he's okay. Tolerable, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, tolerable.
But not handsome enough to tempt me.
Right. Yeah.
Couldn't not finish it. Sorry.
Oh, 𝗪𝗡.
Practically quote that movie.
Yeah, I think the Bingley's house, not the Bingley, the Bennett's house, I think is for sale.
Oh, fun.
95 production. So if y'all have a couple $1 million,
yeah,
just lying around. Yeah.
Right. I think we should purchase it together and make it like a museum or like a fun experience, like a go back in time experience. That would be a good one.
Like
that's
in
what
Austin land.
All the stately homes are like over here anyway.
Yeah.
They are all like, you know, dress up as a Victorian for the day or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
They're just like that.
We don't have any, I don't have anything like that here. Nothing.
Well, A, we're in America, B, you're in Utah, which is even younger. So yeah. We're babies. Anywho,
Yep.
All right. So to get back to the actual story, yeah, he asked if he's some sort of danger. She's like, no, nothing like that. He was really upset last night. I've never seen him like that before. And based on his behavior, I don't think he's being very honest about what he wants from me. And which is great that Sam is self-aware enough and able to, you know, analyze Charles's behavior because she is in a relationship for the first time. And I don't know about you, but when I was like 20, okay, she's a little older than me. I was like clueless, you know, my first relationship, like with Yoel was my first real relationship. I wouldn't have picked up on things. I would have like not noticed things. So, you know, credit to her for being able to correctly see what Charles, you know, correctly understand Charles's behavior.
Do you think Charles knows yet? Do you think he's like he's actually thought to himself, I think I really like Sam and I want to be in a relationship with her? Do you think he's actually said that to himself?
I think so. And I think that the next chapter kind of proves it, but we'll get to that later.
See, I think he's still oblivious to how much he cares about her.
I think so too.
I think he's yeah. I'm waiting for I'm waiting to really see him acknowledge the fact that he really cares about her and that he doesn't like the contract anymore, or he's scared of the relationship and run away. You know, I'm waiting for something, and we haven't had a chance to really see that yet. So,
what do you think, Sadie?
I think he's still in that kind of squashing his feelings right down. Like he is so into controlling his own emotions and everything. You know, you see the dichotomy of him at work and then him outside of work. He's so controlled and contained, that I think he's just he might well know subconsciously, but he's just like, no.
Well, there's definitely something going on subconsciously.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. But I just don't think he's actually.
He's in denial.
He is. I think he is.
Oh, I have such a good story about people being in denial. I totally notice whenever people are like into other people, and sometimes I keep it to myself and I just wait a little bit. But when it happens, when they actually admit it, I was like, yes, I knew it. I told him. Or I told myself.
It's a good feeling.
You should start making bets.
What?
The money.
Right. Well, I helped my friend get
2
married.
months and they're married. No.
One of my friends was into someone and she like pretended that she wasn't. And I was like, yes, you are. And then me and my friends, we all pushed her and she went out, blah, blah, blah. And she's married to him now.
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Yes, exactly. Legit. I'm going to be, to my dying day, I'll be so happy about it. So anyway, Marshall's like, I don't understand. Are you two not dating? And she says, no, we're not. Our relationship is only supposed to be. And Chibi face.
I know this bit.
And then Marshall also looks around, adorable, so cute. She's like,
they're literally alone in this place that nobody else can get to, and she's looking around.
He's like, what are you looking for?
So
cute. I love their chibi faces. Adorable. Like yummy. And she's like, our relationship is supposed to only be physical. Not in front of the baby.
So funny.
So cute. Oh my god. These two are so precious and so pure. Yummy.
He's such a dork.
And he's
in a very fun way.
Yeah.
He's not been shy previously about talking about anything sexual or anything like that at all. He was perfectly cool to have a conversation with Sam about listening to porn too loud.
So it's funny that she's
in
still
front of the baby. So funny.
Hilarious. The very sentient, conscious baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Dragon baby.
Digital dragon baby.
Yeah.
Digital dragon baby.
Funny.
Yeah, so cute. But Sam continues, and she looks very dejected. He said he had laid all of these ground rules before we started anything between us, and the relationship was very much not allowed. But last night he needed more than just the physical. And Marshall says, do you like him? I mean, if you do, then why not just date him and make him into something more? Reasonable question. And she rubs her head and she's like, and then she goes, choop, drops down on the ground. And Marshall's shocked. He's like, sorry, I just need a minute. Marshall's face is so compassionate. He's such a caring person. Oh, I love him so much. He's such a goody. A good person. And then you see that he leaves and Sam is just, on the floor there, or Ariadne. Sorry.
Ariadne.
Yeah, Ariadne, thanks. And then he knocks on her door, which is such a nice thing to do. I think that's so good of him. He's like, I'm going to be there.
This is an in-person conversation, which I'm actually grateful for, because if they had all their conversations in the digital world, I'm like, you're literally right next door. Can we not have all of these important conversations in Fantasyland, please?
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for this.
Yep.
Something to be
Also
said
the fact that like he jumped the balcony too.
Yeah,
Oh, there's just a low wall. It's the pony wall. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Right.
I just like to think that he's like, just like
Night.
Nice big leap.
yeah.
Do anything.
Sometimes having these conversations online, people will talk about stuff that they wouldn't in the real world, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at her, she's not wearing her headphones. So again, the conversations are being typed, which sometimes conversations get too difficult to type.
Yeah.
So
You just want to talk.
My friends and I are all very we have a chat, like all my really closest friends, and we're on it like legit all day. Like we should be working, we're just like chatting. But I think for us, we're all very like literary minded, like we all love writing. So I do find that sometimes very often like we can communicate better in writing. We do it because like
Is it
we're
a
all in, like,
computer where you can type?
usually on my phone. I keep nothing on my
Okay.
phone. You know, like every so often I check it. But
Yeah, I'm not very good at phones. So I'm very much if it's a conversation where I want to talk about lots of detail, then I would just prefer to talk in person.
Yeah. But Marshall comes and he decides to, you know, knock on the door. He knocks. Sam gets up. You know, she's had her head on her hand in the desk, and he's knocking on the porch. We have the barking. You already see Bowser is. I think, continuing his tradition of-
Intruder.
Intruder. Infidel. Yeah.
Yep. And now we see that they're sitting in their porch. They're leaning against the wall or half wall. And he says, sorry if I was asking you tough questions, Sam. She says, it's okay. You didn't ask me anything I hadn't already been asking myself. And he offers kindly, like, do you want to talk about something else? Which is, some people, like, they're like, okay, you know what? Maybe now you don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about something else. Let's distract you. Which, like, I've never been that kind of person. Like, I personally am like, if I have an issue, I will like jump into it and like wallow in my feelings forever until it's all processed. Like, I will not be like distract myself. I think one time I remember distracting myself, but like some people, like, they're like, no, I can't handle it. My husband's like that. He's like, I will not think about anything serious. I will watch a movie. Like, no processing will go on. I will.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
It takes me days to kind of process stuff because I kind of have to do it in small pieces. Otherwise, I just will explode.
I just needed to do some serious distracting after the Dion episode.
Oh. Okay.
I'll be completely honest. Yep, I had to distract myself immensely because I was going to explode.
I can just imagine Sabra just like close.
Yeah.
Let's go do some running.
No, not running. No,
Alright.
it was more of, I think it was Pride and Prejudice actually, and in North and South, and just I went on a whole.
What? Do you love North and South? Oh my God. We have to have a North and South conversation, okay?
Yes,
This is
please.
insane.
Yeah.
It's also my favorite. It's like legit my
love
favorite.
it.
Oh my God.
Oh, have you read the book? I love the book. The book.
Yes, of course I read the book like 5 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So good. Okay.
fine.
Detour.
Yes.
Yeah. That
So-
saved me from my misery.
Aw.
Oh,
So Sam's like what? And Marshall grins and he's like, well, they announced a new RTS game today. Colin's going crazy about it. Or we could play some Super Bash Brothers and you could beat my ass again. And she laughs and she's like, no, thanks. So she, you know, I guess she's one of those who doesn't need distraction right now. She answers the question. She's like, to answer your question about Charles, I do like him, but I also don't. And when I first read this, I was like,
yeah.
right? Exactly.
I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I do have to admit her reasoning has me asking questions. Like, she's obviously allowed to, but to say I also don't like him is weird. But let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, when we're together, just the two of us, and Marshall is listening, he's kind and gentle. There's a warmth to him. And we see Charles hugging her. This was the day after they had their non-sex in bed, right? See the new season.
It's the beginning of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, being in his arms feels wonderful. And he's hugging her. And I want to be held more by him. But there are times when we're at work or in public, and now we have an earlier episode, this is before they got together, I feel like he's constantly evaluating me, always looking for ways in which I need to improve. I feel so incredibly self-conscious when he's like that. I feel if I'm more anxious, my stuttering gets worse, I second guess everything, and I'm full of self-doubt. I understand he's trying to help me in a way, but I still feel ill at ease when he's like that. All right. Do you want to discuss a little later?
Well, I was just gonna like the next panel.
You know what? I feel like we could probably, I think we should just finish the rest of the panels and then discuss it.
Fine.
And she says, I like it when I'm Samara or Bunty to him. I don't like it when I'm Miss Young. Marshall's like, have you told him how you feel? I don't know Charles very well, but I think he'd want you to feel that way. I don't think he'd want you to feel that way. And again, that's very generous of Marshall. Like I said, I don't, like he said, he doesn't know Charles very well, but like I feel like he's kind of assumes he's he's a reasonable person, and like he's not a nasty person. So I think that's just very generous of Marshall to assume the best of people. And she says, no, I haven't. I couldn't. We're not supposed to be forming a relationship. And she looks extremely worried. I worry what would happen if I told him the truth. And after last night, things are delicate. Sorry, I shouldn't dump all of this on you. This is stuff I need to figure out on my own. Like, it's okay, Sam. I just wish I could help. She says that getting this off my chest has been helpful. It's great to have someone to vent to. Thanks, Benji. She's using the special name. He has a little jump and a little blush. Very cute. He's like, anytime. And he's like, hey, Sam, what's up, Bunty?
Cute.
All right. So what do we think of Sam's feelings?
Well, I mean, I'll say first thing that obviously her feelings can be perfectly valid. But for me, I find it confusing because when she talks about how she would shake and stutter and all of that, around that exact same time, she was around Link and she was doing the exact same thing. And she was, every time she wanted to get close, she'd start to shake. And she, I actually had to go back and relook at some of these instances, and she was, like every time she would get close to them, she would start to shake, but it was because she wanted them to touch her. So for me, part of it, it seems a little strange, because some of those instances where he is, I guess, evaluating her, didn't she ask for him to push her more and to become, I feel like that was something that she asked him to do and that they talked about. And so for me, I feel like it's a little weird to say that, but it would be an easy thing to fix as well. She could easily say, hey, now that we're kind of doing this side of you makes me uncomfortable. And I think I don't like it when you call me Miss Young and you're so cold and distant. The only time that was even able to happen was after the first time, and then they were in the elevator and he was like shut down. He shut down, and but that's when we see the chain on the shadow on the floor. And but that's also the day of the blood draw, and that's like literally the only time since they've been together that they've even had a chance to be at work. So that's why I'm a little bit like, you don't like him because of that. That's an easy conversation to fix, and I feel like you asked for a lot of it. So that's just me. It's weird.
I get kind of you know, because of Miss Young, that's kind of a teachery, parenty telling off vibes, isn't it?
Yeah. But
So
that's also been the standard for them because of, he calls everybody Miss, you know, but that's an easy thing to fix.
it is an easy thing to fix, but she's been so kind of mollycoddled by her parents. Is she perhaps in a kind of a space where she's not used to that level of formality? Because I mean, she works at her dad's company, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And her dad is never kind of, you know, like,
what does Charles call everybody else at work? I'm having a hard time remembering.
I think he calls them, you know, Miss or Mr.
Okay.
or whatever, doesn't he? I don't recall him calling anyone else. Yeah. But it, you know, it's very formal. I just wonder if she's some of the reasons she's finding it so uncomfortable is it's just not part of her world for her, and she's now having to deal with, you know, that's how it is at work. Not used to that, find it very difficult. But then outside of work, he's completely different. Yeah,
it's very duplicitous, and I can understand why that would be confusing and frustrating. I would hate it if somebody called me Miss Jones all the time. I would hate it. I do not like being referred to by my last name, because I went from a Smith to a Jones, and I'm like, there's a bazillion of us. Can I just go by my name, please?
Yeah, your first name is highly unusual. So
I just I don't like it, and I can understand why she wouldn't like it as well. But that's an easy conversation to have with him, and I'm a little frustrated because she literally just called out Gwen in the last episode, saying she wasn't honest with you about what was wrong. She didn't tell you, and so how can you blame yourself for the choices that she made when she was not honest with you? And I'm like, you're doing the same thing. I mean, it's not as extreme, but it's the same thing. How can he alter his behavior that makes her uncomfortable if she's not honest with him and tells him that it's making her uncomfortable?
So I definitely agree that that's the ideal thing for her to do. I think that what this comic is so good at doing is showing people's flaws, because
and this is one of hers.
Yeah, Sam, you're like, it's an easy fix for you, maybe. For Sam, you know how hard it'll be for her to like stand up for herself. And Charles is a very strong person. She's in love with him, basically, or something with him. She is the first relationship, right? And like, you know, I just think back to like, again, myself as a young person. I'm very strong-minded person. And my husband is like a very sweet guy, but like I could not have been able to say things to him at the beginning of our relationship that I can now very confidently say to him. You know, it's like both. And also another very interesting thing that I think is, I find so insightful about their relationship. And I see this with my Yoel and I's relationship, and like with other people. I really find that people are with people, the other people that bring out the best and the worst in them at the same time. Like we're attracted to people who have traits, and then the flip side of the trait is something we hate, and the other side is something we love. Like I always say with Yoel is extremely passive, right? The good side is that I can do whatever I want. He never tells me what to do. He doesn't have any opinion on decisions. I do whatever I want. It's great, right? Because I love to be independent. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. The flip side is he's so passive. He doesn't do anything, right? Who's the one who has to like take care of the money? Who's the one who takes care of all the errands? Who's the one who has to like run everything? Me, right? So it's like, on the one hand, it's been the best part of our relationship and the worst part of our relationship, like legit. And I think Sam and Charles are both attracted to each other right now for who they are right now, and their emotional and psychological development. They are attracted to each other for the worst and the best things. I think that Sam likes Charles because he's so confident and he can kind of be controlling, and like he'll tell her what to do, he'll lead her, he'll guide her. And then Charles likes her because she's pliant and sweet and easygoing and loving. But then that other flip side of the trait can also be very bad for each other unless they.
But he also likes it when she stands up for herself. Like that is when he first started to see her, is when she would stand up for herself, and that's part of what drew him to her.
True.
I think.
But how is he going to react when she stands up against him?
Well, that's when.
And I'm not even
started
saying
to see that.
Right. I'm not even saying this is a Charles thing. I'm saying this as a human thing. I have this too. I'm 100% guilty of it. Whenever Yoel suddenly has an opinion, I was like, intellectually, I'm like, I want you to have an opinion. I want you to be a strong person, but it's really hard for me.
It doesn't match mine though, and it's making
right. It's hard. And I think that's and I know we're going to get a lot into this in the next episode. I happen to think that seeing every character with these like very realistic flaws is so good, refreshing, and so healthy. Like we are so human, and like it takes us years. Like I'm hoping that by the time I die at like hopefully 100 something, I will have worked on my character traits to some extent. But like I know that working on yourself and getting to an emotionally healthy place is a lifelong endeavor. Like Sam and Charles are relatively young, right? And they are who they are, and everyone has to work on themselves. So the fact that they have flaws doesn't mean, like we've been saying, like Mange said, no one's a villain, right? They're not villains, but they have things that they need to work through, right? And then we'll get more into that also in the next episode.
I don't know. I think Mr. Lawson's going to be a villain.
Fine, we can have some villains.
Who knows? I wanted to just mention another thing, to have her say that she didn't like him hurt my heart a little bit, because the things that she pointed out, notice it wasn't jealousy and it wasn't possessiveness. I'm just going to point that out. That's not what she has seen yet. And but it's sad because those are the things, those moments of her being uncomfortable when he pushed her a little bit more, that she learned so much. And so that's sad for me. It's like, oh, but if we hadn't had those moments, I mean, even the ones that are in the panel when she's talking about those moments that made her uncomfortable, she changed and she grew so much. We do not have the same Sam that we had in the beginning of the story, and it's amazing, and I love that. But it's also because he pushed her and he made her uncomfortable when nobody else would.
Right. The question is, though, do you want that person pushing you to be your romantic partner? Like,
exactly. Yes.
Your work mentor is one thing, but like your romantic partner to push you that hard, I don't know if I want that.
And that's fair. That's absolutely fair. But again, it was the comment of, again, I don't like him. It was just that. It was a weird way to put it, and the way she put it hurt my heart, if that makes sense. Because you could say, but when he does this, it's not very attractive and it makes me feel, So again, it's completely valid and she's allowed to say it. And plus she's a fictional character, and so it really doesn't matter. But
the other thing
it did hurt my heart a little bit.
Was like all the instances that she was talking about was, to my memory, it was before they were together. So to me, it's kind of
they've literally only been together for like a weekend. It's been
500 years is how long it's
been. I know, right? How long it
feels. Forever for us.
Yeah, but I think it's only been a few days.
I think so.
They,
2 days.
yeah, no more than a week. No, I think it's just been about a week
We've been together for a week.
sexually,
Sexually.
Actually, yeah. I think
because
yeah.
it was Dad was gone on his vacation for a while, and then he had a few moments, and then the next day, it was the day of the blood drive, and he had to go home, and then he came back, and then we had the weekend. So it's really
Well,
hasn't been long.
I guess it can't be too long because he got the job offer, and like you can't drag that out for too long. But
Yeah, he's been sitting on that job offer for months.
It's been 84 years.
Yeah, it's been so long.
But I think, you know, what you're saying about, you know, learning a lot from Charles and things, I think it's kind of important to recognize, as my teacher brain coming out now, you know, everybody learns things in different ways at different rates, and people react differently to different situations with different people in, if you see what I mean. So perhaps she wouldn't have learned the same lessons that she had if there had been somebody else in the conference room, or, you know, or whatever, or if it was her dad telling her, you know, you need to go and stand up for yourself. But I think, you know, when she says, I do like him and I don't like him, is she perhaps just kind of trying to persuade herself that she's supposed to be distancing herself from this? Is she telling herself that rather than that's what she actually feels? She's kind of projecting onto herself, you know, I'm supposed to feel this way, so I'll tell myself that I do like him but I don't, so that I don't, you know, both feet in.
Yeah,
that's a really insightful comment, because I love how you notice that people fool themselves for a variety of reasons, but that is so true. Like we fool ourselves all the time, and that is really insightful. Possibly because she's scared of being with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of stagecraft, and stagecraft, you know, they call it stagecraft, but you use it in offices and, you know, conference rooms and stuff. It's lying to yourself so you can stand up in front of a room full of people and tell them, you know, bad news, and just get on with it. But we all do it in different ways, to different extents and everything. But yeah, I feel like there are elements of that creeping in for Charles and for Sam as well, but not for Marshall, because he's a sweet puppy and I don't think he can lie.
Yeah, he definitely struggled with like how he sees himself. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the same way. Very interesting. I think that also she could be fooling herself because she's scared of confronting Charles, because like if she's in, right, she'll have to be honest about her feelings. She'll have to, you know, establish, this is how I like to be treated, this is how I don't like to be treated. But so it might be easier for her to be like, let's just cut the relationship so I don't have to confront my fears and
I don't have to do
up.
that. Yeah. Yep. I'm just a little sad too, because she also said, have I given you any reason to not want to be honest with me? And I kind of feel like Charles has been the same, and for her to be, I wish she wasn't so scared at this point, because every time she has stood up to herself, Charles has been very understanding, and I have no doubt he would be understanding if she told him this as well. So
I'm not so sure, because this is his biggest weakness. So, you know, I don't know if he'd be able to be so understanding if she talks about
the whole Miss Young thing.
Well, okay, that and fine. That's not jealousy. You're right. It's not the jealousy.
No, because we're not talking about possessive or jealousy. I'm just talking about the instances that she said she was uncomfortable with.
Right. The formality though the no relationship part, that I think he wouldn't be able to let go. The like, we're not in a relationship, we have to be cold in public. That I don't think he'll be able to stop at this point in his
he'd probably be dead. If he didn't, his father her father would probably kill him.
Yeah, exactly. I guess for practical reasons,
Mama Young has told him to back off, but if he saw Charles put his hand on Samar's shoulder in public, he would have. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
What do you think Charles' reaction would be if she did say to him, you know, can you stop calling me Miss Young at work? Do you think
I
he
think
just
he wants a
kind of
conversation
the whole-
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he just kind of, all right, well, we'll just call it quits then?
I think he would do that. That's what I think he would
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Maybe,
we've all been
because he's
saying
scared
gonna
of a
run away
relationship.
anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that is the trigger that makes him run away, I kind of hope that it's a bigger trigger that would make him run away, though.
Mhm.
Well,
Story wise.
we get to the next
story-wise.
chapter. I think we're gonna see our trigger.
I have no
Mm.
doubt we're gonna see a trigger.
I mean,
And I'm wondering if we're gonna see a Mr. Lawson, like
Yeah, I don't
half
think
a
it's
moment that
gonna be
makes us go,
All right. Do we want to move to the next chapter? Are we done with with this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you to my current patrons: Suzie, LadyLibris, Lily, Jenny, Molly, Veronica, Emily, Jo, Rochelle, 𝗪𝗪, Tuggles, and Rose, Alexa, Misty, Joanne, 𝗪𝗀𝗃, Esther, 𝗪𝗏𝗃, Emily, Jean, Jen, Erin, Kay, Lily, Beckett, Krystine, Sadie, Kelly, 𝗬𝗃𝗃, 𝗪𝗃, Your support is truly appreciated.